Welcome back to another video from the Debate Room Podcast. This is episode 162. Today we're going to be talking about the NBA. The NBA season is in full swing. We're about 12 to 13 games in for each team. We have teams playing well without their stars, missing point guards. We have GOATs returning back to teams from injury. And a lot of players having resurgent seasons. A lot of stuff going on. Actually, to be honest, there are a lot of people that might be traded at this deadline as well. Young players that we should probably talk about.
I'm not sure how to help you with that.
Okay. Anyways, we're going to be talking about the NBA today. A lot of headlines going on as the season is really starting. NBA Cup is in full swing as well. A lot of NBA Cup games tonight. So before we get into it, make sure you guys follow us on our social media platforms up at the top of the screen. And let me know how your team is doing through the first 12 games of the season. What's your first impression of your team? I'm joined today by Q, as always, here every episode, and KD making another return back to the podcast. Man, this way we got to get you on full time. I don't know.
You see what down there in the bottom left corner?
Translated.
CEO putting on.
No, we gotta have KD on the podcast a lot because not only I regretfully say he is knowledgeable, but he
why not regretfully?
He is knowledgeable.
You gotta be backhanded.
He has a lot of different opinions, but he knows how to argue them and back them up. So I always enjoy having him on the podcast. So we're gonna actually start with the team, or actually no, we're gonna go to them next. I thought we was gonna start with Houston. We're not. We're going to start with the Hawks. I think they've been one of the biggest stories of the NBA season so far because they have more than stayed afloat without the services of their star point guard, Trae Young, who some consider a top 20 player, top 30 player in association. He's been the mainstay of the organization over the last 7 seasons or so, and they have been better this season without him in terms of win-loss record. So I really want to discuss how they're doing it, how they're getting it done, and what does this mean for Trae Young future in Atlanta, especially with the looming top pick they're going to get this year. So let's talk about it all. So I'm going to start with you, KD, as the guest. What does this stretch without Trae Young mean for his future in Atlanta?
Yeah, I mean, we already kind of saw like the writing on the wall with Trae. Just because, I mean, they didn't come to an extension. Like the Hawks didn't extend him, didn't give him the paycheck he was looking for. And that already kind of set the signal that, pending what happens this season, they might be willing to move on. I think this stretch has kind of shown you that moving on is probably the best bet because obviously it was so early in the season, only a few games. But when Trae was playing, things didn't look great for the Hawks. But with him out, like the team has just clearly found a identity that's just been different than previous Hawks teams. Previous Hawks teams has always been Trae Young pick and roll, Trae Young ISO when he wants to. Like it's very just Trae centric, and now without him, it's more of an identity that's like, we're going to hustle. We're going to play defense. We're going to run the floor. And we got different guys who can pass and can get it going on each night. And we're just going to kind of feed the hot hand. Like last night they lost, but Nickeil Alexander-Walker, he was a hot hand. He had like 32 points. And it was just, feed him. It's been funneling through Jalen Johnson a lot, who I've always been super high on. He's a KD6 guy, officially stamped. And they've been funneling through him a lot more. He's been able to actually impact the offense as an on-ball, not necessarily on-ball initiator as much, but kind of just more of like a fulcrum of the offense, which is, I think, the best role for him. And other guys, Dyson Daniels has had kind of a rocky start, but, he's had a few games. He's putting up like double games. It might give you only 11 points, but 12 assists to go with it. And obviously still giving you the defense. So it's really just at this point, I think if you're the Hawks, your team's out for what what Trae's worth. See, I don't know who's going to trade for him necessarily, but see what teams are willing to pay, and probably you give it like 10 games when he's back and see how it affects the team. And if it's clearly impacting him in a negative way, I think you look to part ways.
Q, what are you seeing from the Hawks in terms of their play without Trae Young, and what do you think it means for his future with the team as he has a contract extension he's wanting to get, and they have this draft pick they're simply going to get from the Pelicans. That should be a really, really high pick.
They're leaning all into, like, I guess, a full-on defensive identity. Obviously, they're able to switch everything. They're running, like Katie said, they're running everything basically through Jalen Johnson, who's like basically showing, like, I guess, number one type potential as a scoring option. What?
No, he doesn't score. He doesn't score well enough in the half court for me.
Yeah, sure.
It's
it works for them. So,
if Siakam was dang near number one for a championship, they was like possibly just an injury away, literally from winning it with Siakam as the number one. So
sure could have.
I think they found something that they like, and it kind of, based off like winning games, it kind of seems like, it basically shows that Trae is kind of expendable for them. So they don't need him to be successful. And I think they're fine with that, especially since they couldn't get to a contract. Now allows them to get like a clean break. And even if they don't have their pick, but they do have the Pelicans pick, so they could, if they have a chance of landing like a very top prospect to add to this core, and they could, just get a clean break and like add a good prospect to a team that's already winning games.
I don't think this stretch shows that they are better without Trae Young, but this stretch and prior stretches of his career show that they're not much better whether they have him or whether they don't have him. Over the last two seasons, the Hawks are only 0.3 points better per 100 possessions with Trae on compared to him when he's off. And that's because their defense goes up tremendously with him off the floor. He is one of the worst defenders in the entire NBA. They get out in transition more when he's not on the court. They defend better. The offense rebound better, I think, as well, with them off the court historically. So, again, like KD said, they run so much pick and roll, a lot of trace injury stuff, which is good for the half-court offense. But for someone that's as talented as passer as him, they don't get out in transition. Now, last year, I think they were really high in transition frequency, and they just weren't finishing the plays. But now they have better transition finish with Jalen Johnson being back, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, and other players that are healthy now. It helps them on a transition offense. But the moral of the story is this team is clearly the best of Trae Young's career. So they for sure don't necessarily need him. They're going to need him if they want to like actually perform well in the playoffs. But the bottom line, and it's been like 4 or 5 years now, he doesn't significantly improve their team because how bad he is defensively. That's the bottom line. He hurts their defense a lot. They have to cover for him a lot. They have to build a roster around his deficiencies on defense. They generally do. They have to build a roster around his deficiencies on offense because he can only play on the ball. So when you look at it like that, I feel like, yes, they're better with Trae Young. However, they're not better enough to give him a max contract. No, for sure not. They're not good enough with Trae Young to where the point where he is not expendable and they should have to hold on for him for like dear life. There's not. Like historically, they're just not. Since he's went down, they are the 8th ranked defense. Jalen Johnson is averaging 23 points, 10.4 rebounds, and 7.4 assists on 67% true shooting percentage. Nickeil Alexander-Walker has played well. Dyson Daniels at times has played well. Onyeka Okongwu has played well. I think that when Trae Young comes back, he has to prove that he deserves a contract extension. When he comes back, they should get better. Like clearly, they should like significantly get better. And if they don't, that's going to be all the signal the front office needs that he's not worth building a franchise around. And I think it's point blank period. We all kind of said similar things. But I really do think I don't think you guys mentioned that like this team is the best he's ever had, and that it's kind of showing like if he comes back and they're not like a contender in the East, then he's just not worth building around. And I think Trae is a good player. He's a great player, but he's extremely flawed because of the type of team. Like he's not good for roster building. I think we got to start talking about like players like this. Like obviously Trae is extremely talented. Is it optimal to build a roster around him? No, not even close. Like it's just not. The type of team you have to build around him is not like easy to keep around, and you're giving up something. You're giving up something because even if you have like a Celtics level roster around him in 2024, he's still gonna be exploitable defensively, and that team didn't have a lob threat really. So I mean that's neither here nor there. But
I mean a better example would be the Pacers last year, or even I guess even current Pacers. Like,
yeah, that's true.
But I mean, to your point though, it's difficult. Like Trae, do I think Trae is capable of being like the engine of an offense for a championship team? Yes, but it's just going to be harder, like you said, to build around him than it is for some other stuff who might be great on ball, but also provide off-ball value, or great on ball and also provide defensive value, or they at the very least aren't like huntable on defense. Both of those areas, defensively and off the ball, is lacking significantly behind a lot of his peers. And so I think that's where the difficulty arises, just in building like a competent roster around him. I mean, what they have now is like a good attempt. I think that Jalen Johnson and KP as a 4-5 around Trae is like ideal. I think that the 2 and the 3 position is kind of like you have Nickeil Alexander-Walker, I think is a good fit, but Dyson Daniels, I don't think necessarily is a great fit because he can't space the floor, and he's probably a guy who's better. Like to get the max offensive value out of Dyson Daniels, he needs the ball more, and that with Trae, that's just not happening. Zachary Reese-Shea, like he's not. It's just not. It's not there yet. I mean, he needs time. So the rest of the roster, there's a couple of good pieces, but I think overall the attempt to build like a contending type of roster around Trae it's been a failure. And part of that's Trae, part of it is just like the types of players they've gone after. But either way, it's just going to be difficult. So.
Well, given that idea that we don't think the Hawks can build a roster around Trae that's going to be good enough to win a championship, and like you said, I feel like the off-ball stuff is the most. That's the most damning. Like defense, okay, cool. He's a point guard, even though he's one of the worst defenders in the league. The fact that he isn't good off the ball, that's more damning to me than a defense, honestly, because it makes it even harder to build like offensive players around him. And like you would want another ball handler in that lineup that can work well with him, but he's not good off the ball. He's not good like off of handoffs. He's or nothing like that. He doesn't move around a lot, like. So I think that's the more
no slashing ability because of his size. Like,
yeah. Okay. So given that, what are some of the best landing spots we think for Trae Young? What teams can use him the best and try to like get the most out of him in terms of trying to win a championship?
Right now, today, there's no like, okay, yeah, they can win a championship type team if they get Trae Young, but like the obvious spots that like where he could go to and probably be effective up like Miami, but I don't think he fits in with like a Spo ran team.
Yeah. He'd fit well with Bam, just
yeah. Like I like what it like on paper. I like what it would look like similar with LaMelo. I think he could go to Miami. It will look like it'd be different than what they got, but there's no team that I think he could go to right now currently, and I think they could have a chance to like win a championship as like presently constructed based on like who's on other teams.
Yeah, maybe
so
like
Miami probably the only one for me.
Yeah, if you went to Miami, part of that's the East is just kind of like a cakewalk.
Yeah.
if you would say did some hero,
maybe Minnesota.
Yeah, I think Portland. I mean, they wouldn't be. They could be a playoff team in the West for sure if they got Trae. Just because I mean the West kind of right now is pretty top heavy, but like Portland is a team where if you build correctly going forward, you have some pieces that could make sense. But they honestly feel kind of just like a variant of the Hawks, like in some type of way. Like they got guys who kind of like Denny is kind of like a wing version of Jalen Johnson, and Donovan Clingan. I mean, he's like young and whatnot, but Onyeka Okongwu, like they kind of do similar things. So that's just another team where it's like a similar version of the Hawks. It really is like, yeah, there's not really an infrastructure where it's like right now he could go to and they could be contenders. It would really be like Miami they could contend to come out the East, but they're losing to whoever comes out the West. Like they're not beating anybody. So
yeah, and I feel like a lot of people will lead that to like in terms of like you can't build a team around Trae. That people say like, oh, he's a bad player or whatever. But I just think that it's a difference between like impactful and portable and easy to build around and being a good player. Like you can be like very good at basketball. It's just like super hard to build a team around you.
Yeah, that's how I like when I think about players. Like I don't always think about like what will they do for a championship team, or like can we win a championship with them as like a 1, 2, 3? Because I don't think that's like fair. Because too many pieces got to fit together, and they have to fit together properly. Like it's like when we was talking about Julius Randle. Like I think Julius Randle's a very good player. I don't think he's probably your 1 or your 2 on a championship team, but like he could put up numbers like that, and he does good things. He's just not seen as like in that light.
No, I think Julius Randle a good example too. So I don't know because I think that Trae should like optimally he should be a 2. But if you have him as a 2, you need a center that is compatible with him and also a good enough scorer that will work. And I don't really think that exists as like a lob threat or as like a primary role.
It would be some type of like
It'd be like a Wemby. It'd be like a like if Giannis was really a center, or like some type of Wemby, Joel Embiid type combination.
I mean, even AD, like if say Trae and AD like link up in Brooklyn or something like that, and Brooklyn trade some of their picks and prospects to just like build a team around Trae and AD, like it would be win now because AD's timeline is like within the next like 2 years tops, but that would be like a good duo that you could say like we can compete, and if you get the right pieces around them, and that's the thing is just like I feel like it's easier in the league right now to get like your 1 and your 2, like your top 2 guys, some cases even top 3. It's much more difficult to get the surrounding cast. Like you look at the Lakers. Lakers have the Lakers big 3 right now offensively is like monstrous with the way Austin Reeves has been playing, but the surrounding cast, like not even that they're bad, but the fit just isn't there. So it's like that's really the problem, is getting the guys who fit correctly is just difficult in today's league. That's why like what the Pacers have done is just at least before this, I mean, losing Miles Turner was a big hurt, but like last season, the way they were able to get just multiple guys who do a lot of like 3-and-D guys that can operate off the ball and swing the rock and defend like that. Same with OKC, like finding guys who can defend and provide just like consistent value. That's really like where you build a championship team.
All right, I got a segment for Jalen Johnson to appreciate his greatness this season. We're gonna do speak when you see a player better than Jalen Johnson. It was kind of hard to find names because I gotta find like young.
It ain't that hard.
I know I kind of know where KD's gonna stop this, but I mean I expect nothing less of him. To be honest, when I get this up, my bad. Hold on. Yeah, hold on. Let me get it up here. I try to use ChatGPT. They gave me terrible names.
How many names you going for?
I only got 6 or like 5 actually.
You can literally find like 5 power forwards that right now in the league like that you could do.
I got like 5 power forwards.
Yeah.
All right, hold on. I'm trying to see what I gotta do. Slides. I don't know if I gotta verify this every single time.
Yo, Draymond frying Kenyon Martin, bro. That shit was absolutely hilarious.
Y'all call him, we gotta respect Kenyon Martin, bro. He wasn't a bum. Good role player.
Number 1 pick, 1 all-star team. Like that. That's all that needs to be said.
All right, let's do it. Q. You might have stepped away for a second. All right, let's do it. I hate when it does that. All right, speak when you see a player better than Jalen Johnson. First player up, Scotty Barnes. Scotty Barnes is clearly the better defender. I don't know. Jalen Johnson defense ain't been that good this year. All right, next player up, Denny Avdia. Been having a hell of a season. A hell of a season. Next player up, Amin Thompson. Elite defender, really good in transition. Connected passer, good rebounder. Okay. Next player up, Franz Wagner.
Yeah, Franz is better.
Oh, Franz respect. I'm very shocked. I'm very shocked for you, KD. It's Franz respect. I'm very shocked.
It's more so like I can't overreact to what JJ has done for like 8 games. So don't get wrong. Like I'm high on Jalen Johnson, but Franz has like he has a proven resume over multiple seasons that you can't just execute. I think Denny was close as well. I think Denny's clearly a better defender. What the swing there for me is what I think that JJ is a better off-ball player. Like he can do more off the ball with his screening and his rolling than Denny can. That was it for me. But yeah, Scotty, nah. Amen, hell no. Yes.
And you spoke too, or no?
Yeah.
Okay, you spoke too. All right, okay. Last player was.
I would have been speaking.
I wasn't put Zion on there, but you know.
I'm surprised you didn't put Mobley and Chet, other like power forwards. Could have thrown Lauri in there. Like,
why do I kind of feel like these players are all not Franz a little bit, but like these players kind of seem like a little bit more similar to me. I don't know.
I mean, Amen, that didn't make sense. I was shocked when you put him up there. Yeah,
that's true. All right. Next topic up is going to be. Let me get this right first. Yeah. All right. Next topic up is going to be the Rockets. They have the number 1 offense in the league and are off to a 9-3 start. They're 3rd in the West right now, looking like championship contenders. Very, very shocking. They have the number 1 offense in the entire league, considering this was a very, very bad half-court offense team, an underwhelming offensive team overall, and they were really predicated on their defense. Obviously, their defense has stayed really good, but now they're combining that with the number 1 offense in the entire NBA. So I really want to discuss how they got to this point without having Fred VanVleet. I'm gonna start again with KD just because you're in Houston. You got a bird's eye view of it. So how has Houston,
by my apartment? They literally drive like right out this window every time they go into the game.
How has Houston been able to not stay, but like have this offensive revolution this season through 12 games and be the number 1 offense after what they were last year? What have you been seeing from this team?
Rockets fans not going to want to hear this, but the reality is they've had a pretty cupcake schedule so far this season, and that has kind of been a reason for their success. Just going through the schedule, I'm going top to bottom. Thunder, first game, obviously tough, but again, no J-Dub, so they're not full strength, and Rockets lost. Second game, Pistons, they lost. Pistons, another team that been a beneficiary of a pretty weak schedule so far, but they obviously are at the top of the East, so I'm not going to knock Rockets too much for that. But again, they lost, so that you started off 0-2, and the two teams you lost to were at the top of their conference. Then you go drop 137 points on the Brooklyn Nets. That means nothing. You drop 139 points on the Raptors, which while the Raptors are like towards the top of the East, they're a super high-paced team and not really a good defense. And so that it's just not a win that really moves me. You go drop 128 on the Celtics, again, doesn't move me. You drop 110 on the Mavs, which is a good defense, so that's good. But I mean, the offense was not great in that game, and yeah, it's the Mavs. Then you go play the Grizzlies, who down season. You lose to the Spurs, so another team that's like, you expect that to be a tough game that they lost. You beat the Bucks, but the Bucks, that's not like they're not anything special. It's just Giannis and a bunch of role players. You beat the Wizards, doesn't move me. The Blazers game, that was a good win just because they were able to score pretty easily on what I think is a good defense. But even recently, the Magic game that went to OT, that was a dogfight. They were down for a lot in that game. Again, this is a Magic team that did not have Paolo Banchero, so they're not full strength. And then the Cavs, they beat the other day without Darius Garland. The Cavs are having an up and down rocky season. So just going through the schedule, like when you look at actual good, respectable wins, it's like the Blazers, it's the Raptors, in like the Magic, I guess, but like, again, no Paolo. So it's like when you look at like respectable wins for the Rockets, they're just not really there for me. So I'm not going to overreact to this 9-3 start because I think this team still clearly has issues, namely in terms of like ball handling and like who's really the point guard for the team. But given that there's still bright spots, I think Reed Shepherd's had a great season. Sengun has had a great season, although I think the outside shooting is fluky. It's going to drop down a bit. So we'll see, when that falls, how he's scoring. KD is KD. There's never worries there. But, the rest of the roster, it fills in. They do their roles. But overall, I think this team still has problems that are probably going to come to light tonight when they play the Nuggets. And, it's going to be something to watch. I wanted to say their schedule is tougher coming up, but they got – the Suns have played good, but they got the Jazz twice, the Kings, the Suns again, the Mavs, the Pelicans, the Kings again. So I'm not sure. Probably in like January, maybe they'll have a tougher stretch, and that's when I can really like kind of assess the team better. But
I feel like the Rockets this season have one of the weirdest offensive profiles of any team I've ever seen. For one, they are second in the league in mid-range efficiency and have the best offense in the league. That feels like very rare in 2025. It's not something you really want to hear in 2025. They are dead last in three-point frequency, but they are first in three-point percentage. They ISO a ton. They play out a post a ton. They're not getting out in transition a lot, to be honest. But when they do get out in transition, they've been incredibly efficient in transition. They don't have a point guard. So they have one of the most unique profiles of any top offense, I think, maybe in modern NBA history. What they're doing right now is they're moving the ball a lot. And also they're getting a ton of offensive rebounds. They are still leading the league in offensive rebound percentage and putbacks and stuff like that. So that's still helping them. I don't know how sustainable it is, especially with this process, but as of right now, I think it's been super interesting to watch the way they've been playing offense. Like you said, Reed Shepherd has had a really good bounce back since that debacle against the defending champion Oklahoma City Thunder. He's really been more confident with his shot, and he's been knocking down threes. It looks like he's created a little bit more separation as well on drives as well. Tari Eason, before he went down, was shooting really well from three on low volume. Sengun has improved as a three-point shooter, and his efficiency has went up since last year. He's like a much better player. His playmaking I think has gotten better. And then adding Kevin Durant instead of having Jalen Green is obviously going to help. I think that's why they're up at the top of the league at mid-range field goals, frequency, and ISOs and stuff like that. When you ask someone like Kevin Durant, who is still an all-time great isolation player, still an all-time great mid-range shooter, it obviously changes your offense a lot.
What's your take on his ball handling?
Oh, it's
horrible.
It's not good. I said that though, but so I feel like I don't know how sustainable it is, and I think the strength of schedule is a good point, but a lot of teams have not had strong strength of schedule this season. Like the Thunder really haven't played anybody. Like their 15-1 start, they have played a lot of bad teams.
They played the Kings like 3 times, which is nuts.
Yeah, their start is. But I mean, hey, they've been doing it without J-Dub. So
I mean, they're blowing these teams out, which so it's like they're doing what they should.
We're gonna talk about Chet. We're gonna talk about Chet one of these days because I swear he was capped out offensively. We had like 72 shooting percentage. Like it's nuts. But hey, we're gonna talk about it.
I said I'm higher on Chet than Mobley. So we know how Mobley's looked so far this season.
We need Garland. I told you about Garland again. Captain the offense. He's captain.
I mean, it's. Like, yeah, obviously missing Garland hurts, but it's also missing Ty Jerome. Like, you lose basically your 2 point guards, and you replace them with Lonzo Ball like that. We're not on the Cavs, but that's a major issue.
Q, what have you been seeing from the Rockets? Process wise to get to this number one offense, and do you feel like they're contenders in the West? Because I feel like once Fred VanVleet went down, we kind of like wrote them off a little bit in terms of them being contenders in the West because they don't have a point guard. And come playoff time, it's going to be hard to operate like that against the Thunder. I think even against the Denver Nuggets, because Denver Nuggets defense, which we don't have a topic about the Denver Nuggets this in this episode, but like the Denver Nuggets defense has been elite this year. They've played a lot more zone. And I think with a team with not a lot of shooting and not a lot of ball handling, that can definitely hurt them. But in terms of the Rockets, what have you been seeing to begin the year? And do you think they're contenders?
I think they swapped out Jalen Green for Kevin Durant. They've been going through Sengun. But like I said, the schedule is easy, so like I can't really take nothing from it. And no, I don't believe they're contenders. They don't have a point guard, and their offense is clunky, and Kevin Durant cannot run an offense.
That's it?
Yeah, that's just not. I'm not moved at all.
I mean, I'll say I've been impressed. Even though it's like they had easy scheduled games last year, and their offense still struggled. So they've definitely improved for sure. Obviously, they're not going to be the number one offense the entire season. But I think it's safe to say that they improved offensively, and of course they did.
I mean, they're still not great in the half court though. Like they're 10th in the half court. Again, the rebounding, like that's there, and it really kind of it carries them a lot. But like number one half court offense is Milwaukee, which pretty crazy.
Let's move on to our GOAT coming back from he came back from injury. Has
GOAT. Ain't no hour.
That's true. LeBron James came back from sciatica. I think last night against the Jazz. 2 nights ago.
3 nights ago.
3 nights ago. I mean, time is going really, really fast for me nowadays. But 3 nights ago, he came back against the Jazz. The Lakers won that game. Came back from down. He only had like a 14% like on ball percentage or usage or something like that. So they kind of use him more off ball. So that's kind of what I want to talk about. How do we think LeBron coming back on this team is going to affect them offensively, defensively, and how much better do we think they make the Lakers in terms of their season this year?
I mean, in terms of how much better he can make them offensively, it's kind of, they're as is the 4th ranked half court offense. Obviously including this last game, so they were probably on maybe 5th or 6th before that. that's also taking into account Luka's missed games, Austin Reeves' missed games. It's like overall offensively, I think they've really been good, mostly because of JJ Redick and what he's able to get these guys to do, and the way he's been able to put guys into position to succeed, even when stars are out. Again, like Luka, LeBron, and Austin have all missed time. Like all three of them, it's not like 1 or 2 games. Like all three of them have missed. Obviously, LeBron's missed like the whole season, but Luka and Austin have both missed over like 3 games, I believe. So, in terms of how LeBron's going to impact the team, it's obviously going to be positive. The offense, like the way he inserted himself in the offense last night, or not. Now you got me tripping up. 3 nights ago, just kind of like as a connective piece, not really, looking for his own shot. He very much was looking to find guys and really just break down the defense. And I think that type of role for LeBron on this team will really like do wonders to unlock the other guys. Where I'm kind of worried about it is the fact that you're not going to be able to play like the Rui Hachimuras and guys like that can't play defense significant minutes against good teams. So it's going to be guys like Marcus Smart, where I think Marcus Smart has been really good for the Lakers. But if you're like making connective passes to Marcus Smart who's open, that's just not going to have as much value as it would be to a guy like Rui Hachimura or DeAndre Ayton rolling. So, and that's a limitation with the Lakers roster. They're going to have to play defensive slanted guys, and I don't know how much that connective passing to defensive slanted players is really going to help you. So if the Lakers are able to trade for the correct pieces to put around them, then that connective role is like perfect, because you don't need LeBron to score. But if it continues as is, it's just it's going to end up, I already see like the writing on the wall. You're going to have to play defenders. You're going to have like Vando's been kind of getting phased out the rotation. You're going to have to play him. Like you don't have a choice. You can't be a purely offensive team. And when they get in, then that connected passing, like it's just not going to matter as much. So I think it's going to be more so like guys taking turns. LeBron got it one night, Luka got it another night, Austin got it another night, and kind of the rock just spreads out. What I hope for, though, is that LeBron defensively can really lock in and bring that for the team, because that's really what the team needs, is LeBron to be like focus your energy on defense, less emphasis on offense, and that is the most impactful you can be for the team.
Yeah, I think LeBron got it. Go ahead, Q.
No, I was going to say I agree 100%. The only problem I got with that, I can't be trusting a 41-year-old LeBron to be my best defender for 30 minutes a night. I understand he's still the most malleable superstar ever, but that's still a lot to tax him to do.
Yeah, I think LeBron gotta accept an off-ball role, and I think it will help him tremendously defensively, because like last year, towards the end of the year, we saw how good his defense could be when he locks in. He's not going to be able to do it over the course of an 82-game season, but in a smaller role, we can get more of it. He is still one of the best processors in the league. Still one of the best passers in the league. So involving him in more short roll opportunities, more stampede actions, some slot cuts, a whole bunch of off-ball stuff that will weaponize him and make him probably one of the best off-ball and play finisher players in the entire league, is the best way to utilize him when you have ball handlers as good as Luka and Austin Reeves. I don't advise them to come back and try to put him on ball a lot. One, because he's old, and two, because we've seen how good the offense can be with Luka Doncic having the ball a lot, with Austin Reeves having the ball a lot. Those guys already need usage to maximize them. So having LeBron in the off-ball role where he can hopefully focus more defensively and then keep the ball moving and with offensively and connect with DeAndre Ayton and stuff like that, it's just going to be beneficial for the Lakers. I think this is a good team. They were a good team without LeBron, and adding a player of his magnitude is going to help them for sure, especially if he's willing to take on a lesser role, because it just makes him it makes him a lot more portable. He's already really portable. But my point is, like, it's a cleaner fit with what they have right now, because I think having them all on ball is just not going to work. It's not. Somebody's going to be the odd man out, and you're not going to be able to maximize your offense. We started last year in the playoffs a little bit. I want to see JJ involve a little more action. Like I think for a lot of the season, at the beginning of the year with Luka, it was a lot of Luka screen rolls, which is what you want to do, but put some Spain in there a lot more. I want to see a lot more off-ball actions away from the pick and roll to mix up this offense because it got stale in the playoffs. They just tried to force switches and then attack mismatches, and it didn't work because
I think you have to at some point though allow for the take turns and let him get going, because when it comes to playing against OKC, that's not a series where you can say, okay, LeBron, you're playing off the ball and we're going to play a lot through Luka and Austin, when Luka and Austin will be seeing Dort and Kason or Dort and Caruso or Dort and J-Dub, and the OKC does not really have a guy for LeBron. And so that specific type of matchup is one where you should be looking to LeBron to be like, yeah, LeBron, you got to be the guy to score, because they got Dort and Kason on them. And you have J-Dub who's 6'6", and you can just bully him with your strength. So I understand for the course of an 82-game season saying be in that connective role, because then you can, use more energy on defense. And also if you have to ask one of the three of them to be off ball, LeBron is clearly the best off-ball player of all three of them, and it's not even close. So that makes sense. But I think when you look at playoff matchups, that's where it gets tricky, because that's not going to work against OKC, where you can't really expect Austin Reeves to be able to do much. That's a nightmare matchup for him, because they're too athletic. Ball pressure is too much. He doesn't have the athletic tools to be able to really combat with OKC. So you're going to have to look to LeBron. But if you have him in a connective role all season and he's not hasn't been in that scoring role, then it's asking a lot to suddenly jump to that. So.
Yeah, you gotta rep it throughout the regular season, but I just think LeBron is going to be able to turn it on in the playoffs. In terms of just being on ball more, creating more offense, you want to rep it throughout the regular season. But however, though, it's LeBron James. He's been there for 21 years. He's been through multiple playoff runs, 20 years of playoff runs.
I wouldn't worry about LeBron. I would really worry about Austin Reeves. Kind of like how you seen Austin Reeves, how he looked kind of last year versus the Timberwolves.
Yeah, it's not really LeBron. It's just the entire offense as a whole. If you build the offense around these two guys and LeBron as a connector, and then you shift it in the playoffs by necessity to Luka and LeBron are on our main scorers, because Austin can't handle the ball pressure and this tough defense. The entire offense just shifts, and that's suddenly changing that in the playoffs. I just don't think is a great idea. So that's why I'm just kind of iffy overall on this 15% usage being what we actually see from LeBron. I think they need to develop continuity where, LeBron's in a lower usage role, but he still has nights where he's taking over and is the guy. And that way you can have that going into the playoffs and call on it when you need to. And guys know what they need to do when that's happening. So,
where do you guys view their ceiling with LeBron as presently constructed? What do you think the ceiling of this team is with how they started, and then just adding LeBron? I mean, DeAndre Ayton has been really good offensively. Obviously, defensively, we know his struggles there. Rui's Rui, pretty much. Marcus Smart has been good defensively, I think. So
he's the second highest and plus minus on the team. So
yeah, he's been good. He's been good. I don't offensively.
He's a connector. Mm-hmm.
Jake LaRavia has had good moments this season for sure, but
I still think they're a second round exit at best. They just, unless they make a trade, a good trade, I think they're capped at the second round, depending on who they meet. I just don't think they could compete with OKC and Denver right now, today.
I don't think they can compete with OKC just because the athleticism gap. But I think they could beat Denver just because I don't think Denver has an answer for Luka. That's a series where it's very much like LeBron, you can take a back seat. Austin, you can take a back seat. Denver, they just don't have an answer for Luka. Like you just put Jokic in that high pick and roll with DeAndre Ayton, and Luka just picks them apart. I mean, we saw it last year in the regular season when the Lakers played Denver. It's just I don't think Denver really has an answer for that. So that's one of those cases where it's, you know, I trust the Lakers to be able to stop Denver more than I trust Denver to stop LA. Even if I think Denver overall is a better team, like I think Denver does like fares well against other matchups. I think that specific matchup just isn't good for
them. Let's move on to Lauri Markkanen, who was having a bounce back year, a resurgent year. Last year he was kind of down. After like 2-3 years ago, having that breakout year with Will Hardy and the Jazz, I think in 2022, 2023, if I'm not mistaken. That first year he was the Jazz. This season he's averaging 30.6 points on 62.52 shooting percentage. I'll start. I think that Lauri Markkanen is one of the most unique star offensive players, maybe in NBA history. I'm not sure if I've ever seen someone average 31 points per game and not be on the ball like really whatsoever. He is averaging 30.6 points right now. His on-ball percentage is 10.4. His most used play types are coming off screens, spotting up, cutting, putting back, rolling. He is completely off the ball. He doesn't turn the ball over. That's because he really doesn't pass. He's been a really good offensive rebounder this year. I think that Lauri Markkanen is the type of player that on a contending team can be really impactful because he doesn't have to take reps away from your really good on-ball creators. Like I think he can fit really nicely next to high usage creators and not take away from their games. The problem with Lauri Markkanen is that Danny Ainge covets him so much. He acts like he's the next coming of Dirk Nowitzki, and he wants 3 impact players and 3 first-round picks. You're just not getting that for a player that is strictly off the ball, doesn't play make, isn't like a great defender, and is getting paid upwards of $50 million a year. You're not getting that. So I think Lauri is going to waste away on the Jazz because while I do think he has suitors, it's going to be hard to convince teams to pay that price while having to give up that many premium assets as Danny Ainge wants. So we're going to talk about the best landing spots for Lauri Markkanen, but I want to get that out. What have you guys thought of Lauri Markkanen this season? What do you think his best landing spots are? Like, give me your best Lauri Markkanen landing spot that makes sense for him, in terms of maximizing him and you know trying to push toward his championship for him in a competitive situation. What do you think the best landing spots are for Lauri Markkanen?
I mean, my number one, it was a spot that was talked about like a few years ago. It kind of fell off. I wasn't high on it a few years ago just because I thought they weren't ready. But it's the Spurs. Yeah, I think you got a contract with De'Aaron Fox that swaps pretty much 1-to-1 with Lauri perfectly. And
De'Aaron Fox, I'm crying.
Yeah, like obviously Fox won't be in Utah long term, so it'll probably be more of a 3-team deal. But I think that's a perfect fit. Like you put Lauri next to Wemby. It's another scoring threat. It's another great outside shooter next to him just to provide more spacing on the floor. I think it would be extremely tough for teams to deal with guarding both of them in terms of just their size because it's just a lot of length on the floor at your 4-5. Defensively, I think Wemby covers I think Wemby allows Lauri to be in Lauri's best, like most natural position defensively, which is just as a low man 4 rotator, not having to be an anchor or anything like that. And again, the Spurs already have Dylan Harper and Stephon Castle who can be like your point guards. And obviously, like you can play through Wemby a lot, and you'll be able to play through Lauri. I think you figure out the third team for Fox, but that right there, like instantly vaults the Spurs for me as a team that could legit be a contender in the West, just because the way Stephon Castle has played this season, I think, Devin Vassell, I'm not the highest on, but at the 3, because you have Lauri and Wemby there, you can put Jeremy Sohan at the 3 as your like lockdown defender alongside Castle, and you just you go from there. And that for me, I think it would be the best fit overall right now for Lauri as well.
My answer was legitimately the Spurs. Not gonna
lie. I like the Spurs.
Trading Fox as well, like they were keeping Fox.
Sohan, Vassell, Keldon Johnson, and some picks.
I would like him on the Cavs, but I just don't know how. I don't know how the price is. One, the price is crazy, and 2, I just don't know how he gets back there. I like Detroit too, but again, the price is nuts. Spurs cool though.
Cavs will be really good for sure. Is that but also he's getting you don't want to do that because he's getting paid $50 million. It's not even. It's probably not even realistic. It's not even realistic.
That's what I'm saying. The price is too steep on both accounts. Between his contract and what Danny gonna try and get for him is nuts.
Yeah, I think it's Utah. Utah
really, going back to Utah. So
yeah, Utah really fumbled the bag in the sense of they should have just traded him when he didn't have a super large contract because they could have got it would have made a trade much easier.
But we know what that package was. It was the Golden State package was the best, and it was a few firsts and Jonathan Kuminga. And
that was going into his 3rd year with Utah, I thought.
No, that was before. It was right before his contract extension. Yeah.
So they could have traded him out there after his first year. They didn't do that. His market was better after his first year than after his second year because he had a good season. It wasn't as good. I think that I don't know. Detroit would be cool, but it's again, like you said, the money is not good enough. But I think I think the Utah is just gonna keep him. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like they think they can build a team around with him being a focal point of a team, like a championship team. I really do think they can believe that. I'm not gonna lie. I do think they can believe that.
That's just not the Danny Ainge way.
Danny Ainge, they're ready to compete. Lloyd Markkanen gonna be like Hedo Turkoglu.
Right.
Danny Ainge likes to build teams from guys he drafts. So obviously he hit on Lauri in terms of trading for him, but it's not going to be. I don't think that he sees Lauri as a long-term piece. My money would be that Lauri is traded by the deadline. I don't think that he'll be on this team another season. Ainge knows when he needs to sell guys, and this is the case where before you could make the argument that they should have traded him, but they didn't need to. Lauri was still young. Now it's he's at his peak. Now you need to trade him, and Danny Ainge will he'll make the move when he needs to.
And also I don't know. So but I just feel like he gotta pull that price down. He has to. Nobody's giving up. Nobody's giving up.
I mean, Zach Lowe. I don't like people like Zach Lowe's podcast. I'm kind of whatever on him, but I don't think he's some legit source for trade and prices on guys. I don't think that I don't think that what that price he said should be taken as this is the actual asking price. But I'm certain that there's a more fair price that Danny Ainge has in mind.
Yeah, I think a lot of reasons people believe that is because Zach Lowe is a reputable person in the space, and also it's he hasn't traded him yet, and I know teams have been interested, so it's kind of hard, easy to believe he's asking for something outrageous considering he hasn't traded him yet.
We see trades typically don't even pick up until after December 15th because that's when the.
In general, during his time in Utah.
Oh yeah. I mean. You weren't going to trade him after this last season for sure because it was a down year and his contract. You could argue that people saw his contract as a negative after his last season, but now it's when he's back to this form, it's very much you're trading him at his peak type price. And whether or not he gets that, I don't know. I mean, granted, Orlando just traded 4 firsts for Desmond Bane, so it was a 5 first. think it technically was 5. But after that, I mean, Danny Ainge isn't going to really accept any less than that, if we're being honest. And he probably shouldn't. Like, that probably is if Orlando was willing to pay that, somebody else was willing to pay it too. And that should be the going rate, because I think Lauri is probably better than Desmond Bane. Definitely has been way better than Desmond Bane this season. So, yeah.
All right. Another player that might be traded and his time may be coming up to end in his destination, Lamelo Ball, the franchise player for the Charlotte Hornets. Since he was drafted in 2020, took them to back-to-back play-ins, and then since then has not been able to stay on the court with chronic ankle injuries, chronic knee injuries. It's been disappointing, to say the least. Not in terms of his play.
It's really just been chronic ankle injuries.
Yeah.
I don't know where that knee stuff is.
He hurt his knee. He's hurt his knee. I didn't say it was chronic, but I think he's definitely hurt his knee.
You had chronic knee issues.
Okay, that's not what I meant. I meant chronic ankle injuries, and then
it definitely is chronic ankle stuff.
Okay, yeah. So is the LaMelo Ball era over in Charlotte? Should they want to move off of him? Should he want to get out of? I mean, I know you're gonna say we should want to get out of Charlotte. Should they want to move off of LaMelo? Has the era run its course? And then after that, we're going to talk about the best landing spots for LaMelo Ball if he was to move on to a different team. Oh no, KD, you're the LaMelo Ball. I'm a LaMelo Ball fan.
Yeah, you heard that, Q. Yeah, you heard that. No, the Hornets shouldn't trade LaMelo Ball. It would be ridiculous to do that. I honestly don't know where this stuff is coming from. Like, if you watch Hornets games, like, the offense is electric when LaMelo's on the floor. It's not good when LaMelo's off the floor. Make that 100% clear. But as soon as LaMelo sets foot off the floor, they drop to like a bottom 5 offense in the league. When he's on the floor, the offense is elite. And that's been the case for the past like 3-4 seasons. Yes, he has injury issues, but that doesn't need to be a LaMelo specific thing. The first thing you should do when a guy has like chronic injury issues, like with his ankles, things like that, you need to be looking at your training staff and what they're having the guy do, and at some point cycle through, like, go out, hire better training staff, hire guys that like are like specialists in ankle related things to make sure that his ankle is good, like the structure is good, everything is good, and having the best staff to ensure that this player is like able to stay on the floor. It shouldn't be no, we just need to trade this guy because like he has ankle issues, when he is literally the best player in the franchise history. I don't like Kemba. I'm sorry, I don't care. The Hornets offense with LaMelo on the floor is like a 90th percentile offense for the past 4 years. It's ridiculous how good. And that's, again, with a team with a roster that is not that good. All those 4 years is a roster that's not that good. But LaMelo is that special of an offensive talent that the offense becomes that good when he's on the floor. So the solution isn't to trade him. Figure out how to keep him on the floor. Look at your training staff. Look at your medical staff. Solve that issue, and then move from there. If you find that it's not something solvable, then it's like, I mean, you got no choice. You got to trade him. But at that point, it's not going to have any value because the whole league will know this dude, like, it's just he has like degenerative ankle issues, which that very well may be the case. It wouldn't be out there on possibility given that Lonzo had literally degenerative knee issues. So it's like it would be in the family for that to be a thing. But again, he's such a special talent offensively. The way he just understands what's going on the floor, and when he's running actions, and just the feel he has for when guys are open, and paired with his shooting ability, his movement off ball, his accuracy on his passes is like, plus his size that allows him to like throw across the court. It's genuinely like special offensive talent to where if you can just get the right situation around him. Now, I think Khan is a great start. Then it's like you're off to the races. But Charles Lee benching him down the stretch of games, like, I mean, that's just, you're going to lose LaMelo. It's like, whether or not there was any truth to that article. I mean, I know LaMelo like tweeted clown or whatever, but you keep benching your star player at the end of games and losing the games. It's one thing if you win the game. You bench a guy and you win the game. It's like, okay, you're sending a message. You're losing every single game you bench him. So you're not sending any message. You're going to end up just losing the player.
I don't think the Hornets should be in the business of trying to trade LaMelo, but I think LaMelo should be trying to get out of Charlotte. And like you said, obviously, like the offense is obviously great when he's on the court, and it's not good when he's not there. Obviously, you got a bright spot in Khan, who's by any estimation probably been the best rookie this year. Seems like a good building piece and fits well with LaMelo.
I always told that Cooper Flag, like it's a lot for rookie of the year. I mean, that's what I was.
There's still a lot of season left.
Cooper been good.
They got the bones, like they have the bones of what could be a good team. I just think like between Charles Lee maybe not knowing how to handle the situation, not understanding how the offense is supposed to work and things like that. And like I think that's the disconnect, especially like if you like you said, if you lose and then you trying to teach them a lesson, it doesn't really help nobody if we still losing games. So I think all that's up in the air. But the Hornets, that's the best player they're going to come across. Like, and the value for LaMelo probably isn't that high around the league, so you're not really bringing in anything else to like help the situation anyway. You just taking in another team's scraps because they're not going to be trading a lot for like. Yes, he's young and talented, but like I say, a lot of like injury history, some immaturity there, things like that. People are not going to be paying a lot for that. Some type of little small risk, however small it is, or whatever the case may be.
I don't know. It kind of feels like to me that LaMelo is never gonna get healthy. I'm not gonna lie. We're in year like 6 of this. And
you missed like 3 or 4 games.
I understand that. Yes, but all the evidence prior to this is show that he can't stay healthy. I mean, I kind of been feeling like this for a while now, honestly. In terms of like
that's why you called me the LaMelo guy.
I said you're a bigger LaMelo fan than me. Is what I said. But
you really said you are the LaMelo. We heard it. It's on to be like we'll have to. We'll be clipping that.
After that, I literally said I'm the LaMelo guy too, but you're a bigger fan of me.
I'll be clipping out of context.
Okay. Anyways, now I think LaMelo is a really talented player for sure, and I really like what the Hornets are building in Charlotte. I love Khan. I think Ryan Kalkbrenner was a really good pick. Zion James, really good pick. And Brandon Miller can be a good player when he comes back. If he ever, not if he ever comes back. If he can stay at the floor too.
I don't even know if he's going to come back this season. Right?
Like, not only is LaMelo dealing with injuries, but like Brandon Miller has also been dealing with injuries in his career as well. So I wouldn't be against moving off LaMelo because he just can't stay healthy. His track record, it points to him not being able to stay healthy. And at some point, you're going to have to move off of that. Like you can't just keep biting that bullet. But
the argument for it would be that, you trade LaMelo, you tank. If you get a top 3 pick, that's your star of the future. Right? Mm-hmm. That has some merit, but if that happens, just trade LaMelo after this. Like after that, the pick. Yeah. Like I wouldn't be trading because it's much harder to find a LaMelo.
They could probably get a top pick regardless, though. Honestly, they're 4-11.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like you shouldn't be looking to trade LaMelo this season. Like that just doesn't make sense.
I don't think I've heard anyone say. I really don't think I've heard anyone say that they should keep LaMelo and try to fix his ankle issues. I mean, that's not like a super groundbreaking take, but I do think that's the first person I heard to say that. And I kind of agree with what you're saying because what they're building right now. It can be special. Khan is, he looks like he could be a hell of a player, right? Kalkbrenner at least is going to be a backup center, I think. Like maybe not a starter.
His floor will be backup center, I think.
Yeah, backup center. Zion James is maybe a rotational player for in the league. Diabate is not a starter, but he's a good rotational player.
They got a couple pieces. They'll be getting Josh Green back, who's a solid 3-and-D guy. Like they got a couple people.
I don't think a lot of Miles Bridges at all, but like Brandon Miller, he can shoot at least. Like, and he needs to get healthy and whatever, and try to grow as a shot creator, be more consistent defender. But it's really all in LaMelo's hands. Like they're going to be competitive with LaMelo and Charles Lee. I understand you're criticizing him for some of the bench and stuff like that, but in terms of their philosophy, he has changed it a lot for the better. I think in terms of the stuff on the court, they're doing a lot of guard to guard screens, which has been working, shooting a lot of threes, which has been working. So offensively, at least, it's really just on LaMelo staying healthy. So I don't think their future is like very like dark as long as LaMelo can stay on the floor. Like this draft class, I think has been a good one. It's instilled hope in Charlotte fans. I think. What else? I'm missing something as well with the team. Oh yeah, I mean, unfortunately, they lit a pick on fire in 2024. Unfortunately, they completely wasted a top 10 pick. So
I couldn't believe they drafted it. So
unfortunately, they did that. But I mean, 2024 was a crapshoot for a lot of teams. Honestly, and I think that was a very hard draft.
Yeah, I mean, who got drafted after so long that they could have won? Let me see.
A lot of people, I'm not gonna lie.
But like immediate, like guys that were I mean, he was not being mocked that high.
Matis was definitely
I mean, Donovan Clingan was on the board. That's bad, bro. That's I mean, at the time, like you had Mark Wood, but that's still bad. Like,
but your center depth wasn't even good though. Like you still could have.
I mean, they had Mark and Nick Richards, but it was very much like it was clear that you could have been moving, like been ready to move
Mark
off.
Was no injuries. Mark was no injuries.
You could have moved on from, and Mark was never a good defender. So I mean,
yeah,
I can see why they didn't take him because they didn't have an immediate need. But I mean, like you said, Matas would be like a perfect fit.
But Stallone wasn't an immediate need anyway either. He was just like,
yeah,
he didn't fill a hole that that they needed at all. They might as well have just went Clingan because clearly they basically redid their whole center room like 9 months later.
After, yeah. So it had to have been, you had to have been thinking at some point, like you gonna be moving on from these centers, like.
Yeah, man. I don't know what they be doing in them draft rooms sometimes, man. I don't know.
Like I see the vision with Salon, but like the vision is so far away from reality that it's like
that pick would have made sense if they was like really rebuilding from the ground up. So you take your chances.
Go wrong.
But like you're at this point where like you got to start putting like real pieces to compete around LaMelo. So like a Calc and a Khan fit perfectly because they were like almost match made in heaven when it comes to like building a team because of all the other things they did. You waiting on Saloon to find out if he's good at anything or not. Like he can't do nothing. He get a bunch of open threes and can't hit shit. Excuse my language.
All he can do is rebound. Like that's it.
Yeah, that's neither here nor there. They definitely did. That was a bad process. I think Stallone is probably like 4 years away from being 4 years away. I'm not gonna lie. And he was not good overseas. Like I don't really know what they saw. But
you know my philosophy: stay away from all French players. Wemby's the exception. You know.
All right, another team with a maybe dark, maybe bright future. We don't know yet. The Pelicans, 2-11 on the season. Don't have a first round pick. But it might not matter because if Derik Queen, if depending on where that pick land, like if the pick is not in the top 3, who knows? The way Derik Queen could be playing, he could be better than those players. And he's having an amazing season. He just dropped 30 on Jokic. He's been really good since he's been starting. So my question is, does Derik Queen's emergence begin to make Zion Williamson expendable to the Pelicans? And should they move off of Zion Williamson and build around Jeremiah Fears and Derik Queen?
I would. I don't think this made Zion like expendable. I think he'd been that, but the Pelicans are too worried and too scared to like move on between. Scared that he goes to another place and finally gets over everything and becomes like this superstar, or they scared they move on from him. They can't get nobody in the seats, but like nobody go to Pelican games anyway. So I think like just again bad process from the front office. But Derik Queen, if he can continue this pace and keep it up, they do not need Zion. It's just pretty much redundant. And you got your guard and your center, and maybe like you don't really care about that first round pick next year because you thinking of Derik Queen as that being that first round pick, and you just go from there.
Cave.
The first step forward for the Pelicans is firing Joe Dumars because
they just hire him, bro.
I know, and the first thing he does, or one of the first things he does, is that Pelicans trade. the Hawks trade, like giving up their pick, like is just insane. But I don't know how that goes through multiple channels in the organization. Like obviously it's not Luka trade bad, but it was such a bad trade.
He got swindled. The dude from Atlanta came from I think like the Pistons or the Pelicans, and he knew that Joe Dumars was like Queen and like basically swindled him like under the table. Like, oh look, I got something for you. Like he really tricked him into doing that. To be honest,
like it was so crazy. I mean, don't get me wrong, Queen has looked good. He has, but you gave up was probably going to be like, you know, lottery luck on their side, a top 3 pick, like, which again, everybody knows like what that means in this draft. And it was obvious, like we all knew even after like the different acquisitions they made, nobody had the Pelicans as a playing team because we all knew they get hit by injuries. Zion would not be able to stay on the floor. The team didn't like the roster was like as is was already had question marks. So it was very much, you know, it was just not a good trade. They were never like that pick was always going to be a lottery pick, period, when you traded it. So it made no sense. And so it fired Joe Dumars. That'd be like you fired your coach. You know, they fired Willie Green, and don't get me wrong, I don't think Willie Green has been good in these past 3 seasons, but it's one of those things where the process is bad. And when there's bad process, you can expect there to be continued bad process. As for Derik Queen, I think he's had a good season, like good start of the season. I always thought that offensively he would be able to do that. The stuff he did, he played like Sengun, like a Jokic in college, and those type of guys, you know, it's that easily translates to the NBA. My issue with Queen was always his defense. Like that was very much like his defensive issues were very loud and glaring, and I don't necessarily think those are going to change. So that's why I'm kind of hesitant to say build around him, just because I think it's difficult.
He's been kind of good defensively this year.
I mean,
he's been fine. Like, he's been fine defensively. Like defense rebounding is good. His hands are good, but like obviously,
which again, that's Jokic Sengun stuff. But he's not an anchor. I mean, he won't be an anchor. Like it's not going to unless some Brook Lopez outlier defensive development, which I just don't see happening. And so that again, it's kind of like the same thing with Trae. Those types of bigs are difficult to build around, just because like you have to build. Usually a defense, you build from the bottom up, you build your anchor, and then you build up from there. That's kind of like those Utah Jazz teams that were really dominant and good. Rudy Gobert, defensive anchor, build up from there. But when you have a big who can't be an anchor, you have to build from the top down, which is just like much more difficult, much harder. So, yeah, I'm hesitant on saying I would like just like trade Zion and build around Queen and whatnot, just because you're not going to get anything for Zion. Like you're not. So it's at the point where I don't know how much money he has left on his contract, but I would probably sooner look to like if things don't work out with him, maybe some type of buyout or something like that. Because in a trade, like you're going to end up having to take back salary, and like you're not going to get anything good for Zion. It's just that's the reality. If it gets to the point where they're trading him, you're not going to get anything good. So.
I don't know. You got to let him rehab his value a little bit. You definitely got to let him rehab his value if you can. But I hate the process of trading unprotected first round pick for Derik Queen. Even if he becomes a really, really good player, because regardless, it's process over results. It's always process over results. However, Derik Queen does look really, really good so far in his rookie year. A lot of the stuff he was doing in college is translating in terms of his advantage creation, being able to beat slower footed bigs off the dribble as a driver. The passing is really nice. The rebounding is really nice. And his defense has translated in terms of what he was good in college, in terms of creating steals with his hands. The defensive rebounding has been good. Teams have attacked him at the paint. Like he's not his rim frequency in terms of how much teams attack them when he's on the court isn't good at all. But I don't think they have the personnel either to really protect him. But he has some long-term questions in terms of the type of team he's got to build around him because of his issues as a rim protector. However, though, I think the Zion era has run its course in New Orleans. It just has. I think he needs to change the scenery. The coach he got when he was drafted is not there anymore. The GM is not there anymore. This is an entirely different organization than who drafted him. I pretty much think it's ran its course. He needs to get traded, see if they can get any value out of him because I think if Zion can lock in, stay healthy, the biggest if maybe in NBA history with him, in terms of him being able to stay healthy and all that. He can be one of the best players in the NBA. He's one of the most talented offensive players in the NBA. We know this. He's grown into at times being a solid defender. He's a really good passer for his position. Zion still has really high potential, I think. But he soured over this year and to end last year as well. No, last year he was pretty good to end last year. But he's been inconsistent over the last few seasons with his health, with his play. I think it's over in New Orleans. Hopefully Fears and Queen are good because trading a top pick for the number 13 in the draft was a very bad process, but maybe it can work out. Who knows? So I don't think, again, I agree with you. I don't think Derik Queen is making him expendable. I think he was always expendable. But now that Derik Queen is flashing his potential, if Derik Queen continues to just play, move off of him. They play the same position, basically. Oh, well, not really, but kind of.
They both. I mean, yeah, because neither are really like. I mean, Queen is much more of a center, but
yeah, for sure.
They both are better with the ball in their hands,
right?
But I mean, Zion has literally looked like he's regressed. Like it's not. It's not even just like the health thing at this point. He legitimately looks like he's regressed as a player. Like there was that time, like that play-in or pre-play-in. No, was it? It was like was it the play-in or it was the play-in. They played the Lakers back to back. The play-in game, he was hitting like pull up, like stop, like jump stop, pull up jumpers and stuff like that. Where it's like, if he's actually doing this, then Zion's scary. I watched him try that the other night when he was back, or I might have been before his injury. I can't remember who they were playing, but it was some like guard on him. I gotta look. And he tried it and he missed the entire rim on the pull-up jumper. Like it wasn't even close. It looked unnatural. Like, and the loss of like him losing weight has lost his ability to just like bulldoze through people. It's just he looks like he's regressed as a player. That's what I'm saying. You're not even going to get anything good for him. That's why it's almost like I don't even know if it's worth like trading him really, or if it's just like trying to clean sweep, get his money off the books type of thing.
I think Q already gave his opinion. That's gonna do it for episode 161. A lot of fun NBA topics to talk about, even more to talk about in the future. I'm gonna have KD on again here pretty soon. We gotta talk NBA draft here, NFL draft. We're gonna be trying to be more consistent because I think we got caught up in school and work and a lot of stuff. So we're gonna try to be more consistent, push out more content. So see y'all soon. That's gonna do it. Gotta watch some basketball. Love y'all, and we out.